We start with the discussion of bias. The opening example shows that bias is all around us, from the words we use to our attitudes to our beliefs about others. All of these can reflect biases people hold. Bias is a broad term reflecting beliefs and attitudes directed toward other people. Stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination are all parts of bias. Stereotypes are the first part of bias. They represent the beliefs, usually shared beliefs, we have about other people, their skills, and their attitudes. We learn these stereotypes. They are not just natural. Because of this, the stereotypes can and do change over time. Examples might include assuming that all female athletes are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. Or we might think that able-bodied athletes are smarter players than disabled athletes. Stereotypes can hurt people in two ways. First, the beliefs we have about other groups are sometimes negative. We tend to hold those beliefs about all members of one group. Of course, no group is all the same. Every individual is different. When we stereotype, we unfairly limit what we think about people. Second, stereotypes can hurt us too. They can limit what we think we can do. They can stop us from pursuing goals or chances to lead because we've been told, or it's been implied, that a specific group of people cannot do something. Prejudice is the second part of bias. Whereas stereotypes reflect our beliefs, prejudice is about our attitudes. Attitudes relate to how we evaluate other people or groups. We might think of them as good or bad, positive or negative. Prejudice is seen when we have more negative attitudes toward one group compared to another. You might know people who have negative attitudes toward people from a certain group. This is the form of prejudice most people are familiar with. They might say, "I hate all so-and-sos," with so-and-sos being the members of a group. That is one type of prejudice. It is the most common form. It is hurtful if we dislike someone just because they are from a certain race or background without knowing anything else about them. Harm occurs when we think our race or our background is better than others. This is also true for prejudice based on sexual orientation, ability level, language, and other ways we differ. Discrimination is the third part of bias. Whereas stereotypes focus on beliefs and prejudice on attitudes, discrimination focuses on behaviors. It occurs when we treat people poorly because of the group or groups they belong to. In some cases, discrimination might represent a lack of access to something, like training opportunities, field space, or equipment. In other words, people may not have the chance to play lacrosse, or they may have few of the resources needed. In other cases, discrimination occurs when people are treated badly and unfairly. Someone might be made fun of by teammates, left out of things, or ignored. They're all examples of discrimination. Those who face discrimination often don't have the opportunity to participate in the same tournaments or events as other teams or programs. They are also treated poorly or don't always feel welcomed when they do have opportunities to participate in tournament or events because of the negative attitudes and beliefs. Many times, the poor treatment means they leave lacrosse altogether.